Definitely, cloud computing has a lot of promises. And promises are the same sort which is there for the private or commercial setup. Government also it is in the same sense, except there are few things which one needs to handle. Whether you say in terms of in terms of your time to deploy any application at any point of time, because you really do not have to get into those detailed RFPs as I was saying. You do not have to perhaps get into all those tender processes, technical, financial. You can get into this much faster. Your scalability becomes much more convenient because you just have to ask for more resources and they are there. You don't have to actually ask for extra disk and take 2 downtimes, as I'm struggling nowadays to upgrade your servers or storage and things like that. So that way it really helps. So as an organization, as a department, your agility goes very, very high, because anytime if you think of an application, you can easily do it if you have that cloud setup into place. Your cost is something which definitely, even with virtualization, we think, I mean, I don't know the numbers given here, how this, I don't know the numbers, but definitely it gives you a lot of positives. There are 2-3 things which also I feel typically from government point of view, it really gives us a lot of benefit. See, typically in a government, if you have any application, if you ask the user when he comes to you, because now since we run data centers, that he'll say deploy how many servers should I procure. So at any point of time, if you ask me what is your estimated use of this application, any government application, small or big, will always have the estimated number of users will always run in crores. Now you bring it down, okay, so your application initially will not take off, you look at tele-density and all, and you come up with some number, or let's say you reduce it even into 30% in the beginning. Even to cater to this 30% of this thing, you will need a huge infrastructure. But as we've seen, it not in the government, anywhere, if especially a social sector, the initial takeoff is slow. It takes time for an application to really become popular and to be used by everyone who's the target audience for this. So what will happen? So even if let's say you have procured infrastructure for 30% of the load onto this, but you will see for next 2 years, 3 years, what you're using is only 2% of the whole. Your CPU is only 2% utilized. Your storage is your memory is maybe some 10-15% utilized. And by the time it actually peaks up, you realize that your infrastructure has become obsolete. It has gone into that kind of a cycle. So in that kind of a scenario, you many a times have applications which are running. You have these servers now. On one side, because after they are lying in government data center, they may not have to pay for their co-location charges. They have overinvested. You overinvest on your infrastructure. Then there is a lot of expense going in keeping these servers in data center. You have to pay for your power charges, cooling charges, your space the data center is getting occupied, and things like, which is itself is nowadays a huge cost. If keeping one server working in a data center on 24/7, then you will have its DR and all. So that way, but if you're on cloud, if you're virtualization, you can initially take a very, very small piece of infrastructure and you can scale it as the load increases. So that way, this is something typically which I feel is very, very helpful. Second thing which typically is there with the government is, supposing if you have income tax application. Now this application will have search only at certain points in time. If you have exam results, this application will only have search maybe one month when the result is out, when the counseling is on. So now to make these applications, if to provision a dedicated infrastructure for each one of these, you will really need a very, very huge infrastructure. That means, but that infrastructure will be fully utilized maybe only 1 week a month, or maybe only 1 month a year kind of a thing. But you will end up buying and investing to that if you have isolated infrastructures onto it. So that way, to handle to those surge or peak traffics in the government, which is only there for a small part, this kind of a virtualization or cloud computing for that way gives you a very effective solution. Third kind of situation which I personally feel is very, very handy is, at any point of time when you have these servers and then you normally, supposing this data center goes down or this application crashes, from where? So you have something like disaster recovery. You have disaster recovery where you put in your investment, you put in your servers and things like that. And normally those disasters will happen only 1 day or 2 days, but you put the whole infrastructure up and live on the other side of the data center, that whenever something goes down, I'm going to move on to this. Despite all those things, making a DR which is live moment you go down from here, making a setup where your application is capable of getting live from here. There's a lot of difference. So something which we call that, what is your time to recover, kind of this thing. So if you say my time to recover is 1 hour or time to recover is 1 minute, the cost gets into a different kind of a scenario. So in these kind of situations, if you have so in this in the physical isolated infrastructure, this cost becomes very, very high. But if you get into these kinds of cloud computing, your time to move, you're practically ready all that time. Your time to move is practically nothing. You can make more and more applications available on a continuous basis, which is incidentally becoming a demand as more and more transactional applications were here. Having said so, I still feel if you really look at public cloud, we still have a lot of challenges to adhere. As Sir had said, security definitely is a challenge, particularly because, and more on security, we have data protection and privacy which needs to be taken, because we in government keep a lot of data about the citizens of this country, a lot of personal data also. So we need to definitely protect this data. Then there are also issues of security, because even in this setup with no cloud also we have a lot of security challenges almost on daily basis. And once you have everything onto a